We're entering a new era for the automobile, the age of electrification, but the transition can be a little bit confusing. We know from our research here at carsales that plenty of people have plenty of questions regarding electrified cars. Do I need to charge my hybrid? What on earth is a plug-in? How long will my battery last? So hopefully this video will answer all those questions and more. So if you're curious, stick around. Behind me I have three SUVs, a Kia Niro Hybrid, Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid and Hyundai IONIQ 5 battery electric. I'll explain what those terms actually mean, give you a rundown of the details of each, take them for a drive and then explain which one is right for you depending on the driving you do. Before we get into it, give the video a like, subscribe to the Car Sales channel and leave us any thoughts or questions on electric cars in the comments below. First up is the Kia Niro Hybrid, the most conventional of our trio. It has a regular 1.6 litre 4-cylinder engine, but there's also an electric motor that helps out the engine and a 1.3 kilowatt-hour battery underneath the rear seat. Now, this is the first point. Just as fuel is measured in litres, battery capacity is measured in kilowatt hours. Very basically, the bigger the number, the more energy it can store. Now, the Niro's 1.3 kilowatt-hour battery would be massive in a household appliance, but in car terms, it's actually tiny, and that's why you won't find a charge point on a regular hybrid. Doesn't need one. You just put fuel in it and drive, but more on that later. Next up, our plug-in hybrid model, the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. Like the Niro, it has a regular petrol engine, in this case a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder and an electric motor. But to put the Kia's 1.3 kilowatt-hour battery into perspective, this uses a far larger 20 kilowatt-hour battery. As such, it has a claimed pure electric range of 84 kilometres, but take into account the 56 litre fuel tank and the range is up to 800 kilometres. But I'll go into more detail on this when we go for a drive. PHEV stands for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. And there's a pretty big clue in the name. You can plug one of these in. There are two ways to charge an electric car, AC or DC. Think of it as slow or fast. For instance, you can just plug the Outlander into a regular AC socket at home and it will take around 9.5 hours to fully charge, or basically overnight. Installing a more powerful plug cuts this to 6.5 hours, or an external DC fast charger can charge it from 0 to 80% in 38 minutes, though not all PHEVs can be fast charged. One downside of a PHEV is that because you need somewhere to put the battery, normally you lose a bit of space. In the Outlander, the battery is actually under the floor, so there is a very slight reduction in interior room, and the rear electric motor means you sacrifice the spare wheel. Otherwise, boot space is very similar to the regular petrol version. So before we get to the Hyundai, a quick recap. Hybrid cars have a regular engine and a small battery and don't need to be charged. Plug-in hybrids have a regular engine and a bigger battery and can be charged, but don't need to be. Moving on to our BEV or battery electric vehicle, the IONIQ 5 has no engine whatsoever. Instead, it uses a pair of electric motors, and a 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack allows it to travel up to a claimed 500 kilometres on a single charge. With a big battery comes long charge times. You can still plug an IONIQ 5 into a standard outlet, but it will take literally days to charge. The best solution is an AC wall box, which Hyundai can supply for $1,950, which cuts charge times to around 6 hours. But if you're out and about, you'll need to find a DC fast charger. In theory, charging is a very easy process. Pull up, put the plug in, hit start, and then pull the plug out when either the car is full or you're done. I say in theory because there can be a couple of hurdles which I'll cover later on. Hyundai claims the IONIQ 5 can charge from 10 to 80% in just 18 minutes, but for that you'll need an ultra fast charger like the one we just saw that are few and far between. More typically, you'll need around an hour to fill up. Now, before we hit the road, I'll cover a couple of very common questions. How long will a battery last and do I need to replace it? Most electric cars, including this IONIQ 5, offer an 8-year, 160,000 kilometre battery warranty, which covers it for any faults and if it degrades below 70% capacity. Yes, like your phone or your laptop, your electric car's battery will degrade. And batteries are very fussy. Being too cold or too hot, too empty or too full will all affect their performance and degradation. However, today's electric cars take care of all that. To use this IONIQ 5 as an example, its battery pack is temperature controlled and never actually full or empty. The car manages all this to prolong battery life. That said, you can do your bit by keeping the charge between 20 and 80% and only fast charging if you really have to. An electric car's battery pack is made up of lots of little sections like a jigsaw puzzle. When you go in for a service, technicians can plug in diagnostic equipment and check the health of all the individual sections. If there's something wrong, they just replace that bit. As for battery replacement, think of it like this. If something goes wrong with your car's engine, you don't throw away the whole engine, do you? You just fix that bit and carry on. And it's the same with battery packs, at least for full electric cars. Basically, if you're buying a new electric car, chances are it'll be working pretty much the same in a decade's time, albeit with a slight loss of range. If you're buying a second-hand one now or in the future, make sure you get the battery health scanned. Now, let's hit the road. First up, the Kia Niro Hybrid, and well, in layman's terms, there's nothing really to talk about as it drives exactly like a regular car. You fill it up with petrol, put it in drive, and off you go. A hybrid works by using the electric motor to give the regular engine a helping hand. It gathers up energy as you slow down and then uses it again when you speed up. This assistance means the regular engine doesn't have to work as hard and therefore uses less fuel. Imagine you're on a swing. If you're by yourself, you have to use quite a lot of energy to keep going, whereas if someone's giving you a push, it takes a lot less effort. However, because of this process, hybrids work most effectively in slow-speed stop-start traffic. At constant highway speeds, the efficiency improvement isn't as dramatic. As an example, this Kia Niro Hybrid is claimed to use 4 litres per 100k in all scenarios, whereas if it just had a petrol engine, it would probably use around 8 litres per 100k in the city and around 6 litres on the highway. Now onto the Mitsubishi Outlander, where things get a little bit more complicated. If I had to sum up plug-in hybrids in a sentence, I'd say, think of it as an electric car that can never run out of charge. You're never going to be stranded in a plug-in because if you do empty the battery, the petrol engine's going to fire up to A, keep you driving, and B, start recharging the battery. One important point to make though, if you're never going to charge your plug-in hybrid, then just buy a regular hybrid and save a heap of money. After all, this Outlander plug-in is $16,000 more than the equivalent petrol model. To explain how to get the best out of a plug-in hybrid, let me give you a real-world example. I live about 30 k's from the car sales office, so therefore I could drive to and from work each day using just electricity. Plug in at home each night and I could do my week's commute using zero fuel, none at all. Now, my wife's family lives in rural Victoria, about 3 hours out of Melbourne. It's a round trip of about 450 k's. A couple of EVs might be able to do that in a single go, but it would be very, very tight. No such worries in a plug-in. Because you have that backup of a petrol engine, we could drive there and keep going all the way to Darwin if we wanted to. If the battery runs out, the engine fires up, and if the fuel runs out, we just put more in. Easy. At this point, let me clear up a bit of a myth. Plug-in hybrid detractors say they're a waste of time because if the battery's empty, then you're just lugging around all this extra weight for nothing. But that's just not true. At the very worst, you're then driving an Outlander hybrid. And if the engine's running, then it's also charging the battery, so you're always getting that efficiency benefit. In summary, a plug-in hybrid is perfect for someone who wants an electric car, but for whatever reason, doesn't want to deal with any compromises. You can still drive wherever you want, whenever you want, but used correctly, it'll slash your fuel bills. I've heard numerous stories of plug-in hybrid owners having their cars for 6 months or more and still being on their second or third tank of fuel. Now we get to the pure electric side of things with the Hyundai IONIQ 5. There are plenty of reasons why you might be considering an electric car. Obviously there's the environmental aspect, but even that aside, they're just really good to drive. Quick and quiet and tend to be very practical. Because you don't need to package an engine and a gearbox and everything, there tends to be a lot more space. However, an electric car won't be for everyone. To make the most of an EV, you really need to be able to charge at home for a few reasons. One of them is cost. To fully charge an IONIQ 5 at home, off-peak, you're probably looking at around $15 give or take, whereas at a DC fast charger, it's about $30. Still not that expensive, but double what you actually need to pay. The other point is convenience. There are enough chargers around now that it's not that difficult to find one, but it might be out of order, or someone's already using it, or not operating at full capacity, and suddenly your 20-minute stop turns into 45 minutes or an hour. And actually getting the charging apps to talk to the car and the charger can be a bit hit and miss. None of these things are a huge deal, but it pays to be aware of it. Your best bet is to just treat it like your phone. Get home, plug it in, no dramas. You do want to be doing the vast majority of your driving in the city though. It's not that you can't drive an EV long distances. You can, even with Australia's charge network. But there are complications for all the reasons I just mentioned. If you're relying on a charger on a long distance trip and there are issues, you could be in trouble. The other reason is that EVs aren't particularly efficient on the highway. As mentioned before, the claimed maximum range of this IONIQ 5 is 480 kilometres. Sounds good. But at 110 k's on the highway with the aircon on, probably brings that down to sub 400, and then you don't want to run out completely, so then you're at 350 k's or so. And that's okay. You see comments from people online saying, oh, EVs are hopeless, I can't tow my boat to Queensland. Well, they're not hopeless, they're just not appropriate for you, in the same way you wouldn't take a Land Cruiser to a track day or a Porsche 911 off-roading. Again, it all comes down to how you use it. If you've got a second car for long distance trips or simply never do them, and the ability to charge at home, then an EV is absolutely perfect. So, if you've been confused by the whole electric car thing, hopefully it's now a bit clearer. To answer the big question, it's really unlikely you're going to have to worry about battery replacement if you buy an electric car. But as to which one is right for you, well, if you're still nervous about EVs or you're on a budget, but you still want to cut your fuel costs, then a hybrid is the way to go. You can get a brand new Toyota hybrid for a bit over 30 grand. If you're keen on an EV, but still need driving flexibility, then the plug-in hybrid is a good solution. The majority of the time you'll be running on pure electricity, but with the backup of petrol power if you need it. Finally, if you drive mainly short distances and have the ability to charge at home, then there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't investigate buying an electric car. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the Car Sales channel, and give us a comment down below.